So, aside from, of course, the Shakespeare Code, the other Series 3 episode that I personally consider a personal favourite is Gridlock, the third episode of Series 3. First broadcast on the 14th of April 2007. Rewatching this episode now, I do still enjoy it, and I do still consider it a personal favourite, but at the same time, it may have been a little bit of a bad time to rewatch it. Just You'll get the idea in a few minutes. So, the third episode of Series 3, the Doctor agrees to extend the terms of Martha's trip in the TARDIS. Since he's taken her once into the past, he offers to take her once into the future, and also offered to take her to a different planet. While he fends off Martha's requests to be taken to Gallifrey, he eventually takes her to the planet New Earth in the far future, to the city of New York, where eventually Martha is kidnapped by two carjackers named Milo and Sheen, played by Travis Oliver and Lenora Cricklow, and taken to the motorway. They explain to Martha that they're not really kidnappers, but they just wanted to use her to gain access to the fast lane, and that once they arrive at where they're going to go, Brooklyn, then they'll let Martha go and she can go back to where they came from. They state it's only a distance of 10 miles and it'll probably take about 6 years. It's like, wow, I know car journeys can be long, but still. Meanwhile, the Doctor heads off to try and get Martha back, to try and find her, and eventually ends up on the motorway himself, where he encounters some colourful characters himself, including a Catsman named Thomas Kincaid Brannigan, played by Ardal O'Hanlon, and his wife Valerie, played by Jennifer Hennessy, who would later return to Doctor Who 10 years later as Bill Potts' foster mother, Moira. Nice little fact for you. Now, this episode kind of serves as the final part of the Face of Boe trilogy, a trilogy that included The End of the World in Series 1, New Earth in Series 2, and this being the final chapter, the final appearance of the Face of Boe, which is kind of a nice touch, and it also technically reintroduces another classic Doctor Who monster, that being the Macra. Similar to the Autons in Series 1, this is one that casual Who fans may not be familiar with, but for those who do know, the Macra previously appeared during the second Doctor's era in a story titled The Macra Terror, so technically this is a return for them. While they're greatly downgraded from that story, from what I can understand, it is kind of nice to see them return to the show. And this episode also does add a bit more to Doctor Who LGBTQ representation, as they do show a lesbian couple in one of the cars, an elderly lesbian couple at that. As when the Doctor is asking around, can they contact some of the other cars, and Brannigan says they can, he goes, the Cassini sisters. Be still your hearts, my handsome girls. It's Brannigan here. Get off the line, Brannigan. You're a pest and a menace. Oh, now come on, sisters. Is that the only way to talk to an old friend? You know full well we're not sisters. We're married. Just like, okay, they're showing an elderly LGBTQ couple. Yeah, well, props to them for that. So, why do I think that this is an episode that was kind of bad to rewatch at this time? Well, as I said, it is a personal favourite of mine, but the reason why it may have been a bad time to watch this episode at the moment. Now, I can't guarantee from when this episode is when this video is being watched, but at the moment, at the time I'm recording this, we're still going through the effects of coronavirus, COVID-19, and during the episode, the Doctor is transported to the kind of upper city, the over-city of New York, and we're told earlier in the episode, well, we're shown earlier in the episode, that they sell mood patches. Mood patches are available, such as ones to make you happy, ones to make you angry, ones to make you mellow, make you forget. We also see that Cheen uses one to make Martha sleep, and she has one on her own neck for honesty. But the Doctor is informed that the entire city of New York and most of the population of Earth were wiped out, given as a new mood had been created, a new patch titled Bliss. Everyone had tried it and were unable to stop until eventually a virus mutated inside the compound and became airborne. And it killed the world in 7 minutes flat. Everything perished, including the virus in the end. So, yeah. While this isn't necessarily a bad episode, and it wasn't a bad episode at the time, due to the current circumstances, it may not have been the best one to rewatch at this time. But then again, I'd completely forgotten about that small plot note. But then, the last thing I'll say about it, last element I'll mention, is that they do actually show methods people had of dealing with grief. When the Doctor is saying, "Come on, we need to get going," and Brannigan just says to him, "Look, you might think we're alone, Doctor, but we're not. Not while we have each other." And then a character comes up on the screen saying, "Time for the daily contemplation." And everyone's stuck out there on the motorways. "We're so sorry." And you can hear everyone in the cars on the motorway singing the hymn, "The Old Rugged Cross." And it's beautiful to watch. Just everyone, millions of people trapped on the motorway, all in their cars, just taking a moment each day just to sing an old hymn. And it's quite beautiful to watch. I mean, I know it's not quite the same as what we're dealing with right now, but just to see all these people trapped alone in essentially their homes. I know it's their cars, but they've been in these cars for years. Just having that one moment to be all together and to sing, it's really beautiful. So, yeah. While I admit it probably wasn't the best episode to rewatch at this particular time with what's going on, I still think Gridlock is a great personal favourite of mine. And I have no guilt whatsoever in putting it on my guilty pleasures list. Well, anyway, the next random number generated is the number 6, Series 6. And my personal favourite from that one, Closing Time. What do I think of that? Well, you have to wait and see. Until then, see ya.